everyone. So the Kansas City Chiefs were chasing history with a three-peat at Super Bowl 59, but unfortunately, it wasn't meant to be. They faced off against the Philadelphia Eagles in a game that was a lot more one-sided than the final score of 40-22 would suggest. The Chiefs simply couldn't keep up with the Eagles, who controlled the game for most of the contest. It's hard to even say that the score was reflective of how dominant Philly was, especially in the first half. For Kansas City, this was supposed to be a chance to solidify their place in NFL history, but it ended up being a harsh reminder of how tough it is to get to the top, let alone stay there. Now, with the Super Bowl dream shattered for this season, the Chiefs have to shift their focus to the offseason. There's no other choice but to reflect, regroup, and prepare for next year. But for someone like Patrick Mahomes, who is leading the charge for the Chiefs, this loss stings especially hard. After all, this was supposed to be the pinnacle of his career, a chance to win his third Super Bowl and further cement his legacy. But instead, Mahomes has to look back and admit that he didn't play well enough to give his team a fighting chance. But before we get into the details, hit the subscribe button, like this video, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for your support. It was clear from Mahomes' post-game comments that he was still processing everything that went wrong. He's one of the most accomplished quarterbacks in the league, 3 Super Bowls and 2 MVP awards before turning 30. But even someone like Mahomes knows when he's not at his best. He was the first to admit that there were things he could have done better. There's things I still need to get better at. And they showed tonight on the biggest stage, Mahomes said. That's not something we hear from him often, but it's a humbling reminder that even the best have room to grow. He acknowledged that sometimes in his effort to make a big play, he ended up making bad situations worse. I can't be out there making bad plays worse, he continued. Sometimes I get caught up in wanting to spark us with a big play, but tonight they made me play like a fundamental quarterback. Stay in the pocket, take what's there, and I still need to get better at that. For Mahomes to say, that is huge. He's known for his ability to make incredible highlight reel plays, but in this game, he was forced to play a more conservative style, one that requires patience and precision. And while that might not be the kind of football we're used to seeing from him, it's clear that Mahomes recognizes the need for growth. But here's the thing. Mahomes is one of the hardest workers in the league. And if anyone can bounce back stronger from this, it's him. We've seen it time and time again. He's got that never give up mentality, and he'll use this loss as fuel to get better. It wasn't just Mahomes who was off, though. The entire Chiefs team just wasn't sharp. Normally, Kansas City is the team that capitalizes on their opponent's mistakes. But in Super Bowl 59, they were the ones making those mistakes. Mahomes threw 2 interceptions in the first half, something that's incredibly rare for him. It was only the 5th time in his career that he's thrown 2 picks and a half, and one of those interceptions was returned for a touchdown by Eagles rookie Cooper DeJean. That play was a killer for the Chiefs, putting them even further behind at a time when they needed every ounce of momentum. Even with those mistakes, though, the Chiefs didn't roll over. They mounted a comeback in the second half, putting up all 22 of their points after halftime. But unfortunately, it was too little, too late. They had dug themselves such a deep hole during the second quarter that even their best efforts couldn't close the gap. It's a tough pill to swallow, especially when you know they could have played better earlier in the game. That second quarter was a disaster, and the Chiefs just couldn't recover from it. For Mahomes and the rest of the Chiefs, this loss is going to stick with them for a while. It's going to be a painful reminder of what could have been one of the greatest moments in franchise history. This was their chance to become one of the elite teams in NFL history with a 3rd Super Bowl title to back it up. But now they have to live with the fact that they fell short. The sting of this loss is going to be felt for a long time, especially for the players and coaches who gave everything they had to get there. But one thing we know about Mahomes is that he won't let this define him. He's a competitor, and he'll use this experience to fuel his determination to come back even stronger. Just a few hours after the game, Mahomes took to social media to address Chiefs fans. He thanked them for their unwavering support, saying, appreciate all the love and support from Chiefs Kingdom. I let y'all down today. I'll always continue to work and try and learn and be better for it. That's a message of accountability, and it's something that fans really appreciate. Mahomes doesn't shy away from taking responsibility, even when things don't go his way. He also expressed his gratitude, saying, want to give thanks to God for every opportunity he has given me. It's clear that Mahomes isn't just focused on football. He's grounded, and he knows there's more to life than just winning games. But despite the pain, Mahomes ended his post with a message of hope and determination. He wrote, we will be back. And honestly, I believe him. This Chiefs team has shown time and time again that they're resilient. They've got a superstar quarterback, an impressive roster, and a coaching staff that knows how to get the best out of their players. You can bet they'll be more motivated than ever to get back to the Super Bowl in 2025. This loss might sting now, but it won't define their future. The Chiefs are just getting started, and with Mahomes leading the way, you can expect them to be a force in the league for years to come. Travis Kelce's Super Bowl licks was a roller coaster of emotions. The game, which ended with the Kansas City Chiefs suffering a tough 40-22 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, wasn't the fairy tale ending Kelce had hoped for. He played incredibly well and made history by breaking Jerry Rice's record for the most catches in a Super Bowl with a total of 34. That's a remarkable achievement, especially considering the stature of someone like Rice in the history of the game. But no matter how many records Kel set that night, it didn't change the fact that the Chiefs lost, and it certainly didn't make up for the sting of not getting another Super Bowl ring. What made the night even harder for Kels was that while he was out there on the field battling through the disappointment, his girlfriend, Taylor Swift, was right there in the stands. She had traveled all the way to New Orleans Superdome to show her support. But unfortunately, things didn't go as smoothly as either of them would have liked. The Eagles fans were loud and unforgiving, and as the game went on, they made sure to direct their jeers toward Taylor. She was booed during the game, which, as you can imagine, had to be difficult for Kels to witness. He's used to being in control of the situation, being the one who rallies the team and lifts their spirits when times get tough. But in that moment, it wasn't about football. It was about protecting the person he cares for from something that was completely out of his control. And according to reports, that left him feeling helpless. He couldn't shield her from the boos or the negativity coming from the crowd, and that was a hard feeling to process. In a report by Daily Mail, an insider revealed that Kelce was deeply affected by the situation, feeling torn between his love for Taylor and the frustration of not being able to do anything to stop the jeering. The pressure of the game, his desire to perform well for his team, and his worry about Taylor's experience of the game seemed to overwhelm him. It's easy to forget that behind the public persona of a star athlete, there are real emotions at play. Kelce's heartbreak over the loss was compounded by the feeling of not being able to protect the person who means the most to him. Despite all this, there was one silver lining in the midst of the chaos, and that was the unwavering support Taylor offered him. While the week had already been a tough one for both of them, Taylor had been shut out at the Grammy nominations and Travis losing the biggest game of the year. There was a quiet understanding between them. According to the Daily Mail source, even though neither of them was walking away with the kind of victory they had hoped for, they found comfort in each other's presence. The source said, after Taylor being shut out for a Grammy and Travis losing the biggest game of the year, it just hasn't been a good week for them. But he knows that even though this isn't the happy ending they hoped for, having her love gives them so much joy. And that in many ways seems to be what got Kels through the night. It wasn't about the Super Bowl ring or breaking records. It was about having someone by his side who truly cared about him, no matter the outcome. There's also the looming question of what's next for Travis Kelce. At 35 years old, he's already had an extraordinary 12-season career in the NFL. And with each year that passes, the clock ticks a little louder. Many people have speculated that Super Bowl licks might have been his final game. He's achieved so much already. 3 Super Bowl rings, numerous accolades, and the undeniable title of one of the best tight ends in football history. That's a legacy that will stand the test of time, no matter what happens from here. And whether or not he decides to walk away from the game, it's clear that Taylor will be there to support whatever path he chooses. If Kelce does decide to retire, it won't be the end of his journey. It'll just be the beginning of something new. And without a doubt, Taylor will be by his side for whatever that next chapter may hold. When it's all said and done, even though Kelce didn't walk away from the game with the ultimate prize he wanted, he left with something just as meaningful, someone who truly cares about him, someone who will be there for him through the highs and lows, and someone who gives him the strength to move forward. There's no doubt that Taylor's love and support will help him navigate through this tough time, and whatever comes next in his career, they'll face it together. It might not have been the Super Bowl victory he dreamed of, but with Taylor by side, Kels can take comfort in knowing that he's not facing the heartbreak alone. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.